Uh, yeah, sorry, I'm not feeling well, so I'm just trying to listen so I don't miss anything.
Are you worried that we're going to catch whatever you have by sight?
No, but I kind of look a mess. I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie.
well, okay. Well, I appreciate it because I groomed myself for tonight's class. Like I really hold myself to a high standard. So I'm glad you are too. That's great.
It's okay, Pearl. You don't have to put your camera on.
No, absolutely not. You do not have to put your camera on. Okay, I'm just kidding around. So I'm going to tune up here. I played another post-death celebration of life today. Somebody died during the pandemic. And their kids put on the celebration of life today. It was very nice, very sad. These celebrations of life for people that died during the pandemic, I find very sad because it's so over. Like people have gone through it already, and they have to go through it again. And the kids, the woman's kids today, they had a really hard time. And it must be. Well, I went through it too because my mom died right before the pandemic, and we couldn't even bury her because it was January. And then 2 years went by, and before we could get together and bury her again. And it was really tough to go through it all again. Really sucked. But I tried to brighten it up as much as I could by playing things that were slow and fitting a funeral, but not sad. And that's a tough one. There's so many tunes that are beautiful because they're sad, and it's kind of a no-brainer. But to get ones that are cheerful but still solemn is kind of tough. So I played My Keep Writing Home. See, that's a beautiful. It's solemn, but it's cheerful. It has a kind of a shine to it, And I also played Lonesome Eyes. I played O'Carolyn's Draft. And have we ever taken a look at that tune, O'Carolyn's Draft? I'm playing that for
I think we have. I think we
Yeah,
have.
great tune. It's same reason. It's stately, but it's cheerful and nice. And so, anyway, it is a tough one. I've been doing a lot of these post-pandemic funerals and weddings. That's another one. So last weekend I did a wedding for somebody who got married during the pandemic, like a year ago. And this is the first time their family had a chance to get together. And so weddings and funerals, and as my dad used to say, both very solemn occasions. Anyway, let's get warmed up, shall we? And do a nice G major. And I thought tonight we can do more review of really, really old stuff, like maybe O'Carolyn's Draft, for instance. And we'll see how that goes. And some of the stuff we were working on last time. Okay, G major. Ready, go. Okay, my E went up. That's better. Let's do it again. Sorry, my E was out of tune. Ready? Again. How did we do? How's everybody feeling about their G major? Was that okay? It was kind of 80%, 90%? Yeah? Let's speed it up then, shall we? Let's do it like this. 1, 2, 3, go! How's that feeling? Still good? Still pretty in there? All right, faster. Let's try to do it like this. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, now I did pretty good, but I had 3 notes pretty out. Anybody notice what they were? No? Well, there's a couple of no-brainers, right? B on the A string is a bugger. B for bugger, for everybody. And my first attempt at it on the way up was flat. And then my F sharp on the E string as well. And then when we did the arpeggio, my G at the top was flat. Okay, and all my problems were flat. So I want you guys to do a quick kind of assessment of yourself. Figure out what notes you thought in that fast one were not that good, and we're going to do it again. You're going to tackle those notes. Okay? Okay, here we go. A 1, 2, 3, and. Perfect game there, so close. I had one note that was flat, and unfortunately it was the second note of the scale, the A.
Dan,
Everything else was good, yes.
do you suggest practicing scales and arpeggios with the tuner, like watching the tuner? Yeah.
Now, yes, but it depends on your approach to watching the tuner, because the tuner can sometimes get in the way. Because people sometimes treat it kind of like a video game, right? The thing to remember about intonation is that it's target practice. You get a high percentage, hopefully, even for the top levels. Like everybody operates the same way. You get 99% of your notes in tune is all you can hope for. So when you have the tuner on, you're just always trying to get closer to the target. So you might not get every note perfect. See what I mean? And it's good to see or have a reference to say, okay, well, I was a little flat, but how much, right? That's really good. That's what really helps you. But if you start to try to get every note bang on with the tuner, you're not going to do yourself much good.
Okay.
The best way to use the tuner is adjacent. And that's what I always do. So like when I'm in the studio or something like that, I put it on a music stand adjacent to me and I glance over for periodic checks to see how I'm doing. See what I mean? That way, the thing is about intonation is that it's a 2-step process. First, you train your ear, what the notes are supposed to sound like when they're in tune. And that's the stage we're at with Sylvia right now, because she joined Young Voices Toronto, the choir. And she's got homework, singing homework. And so that's pretty well the name of the game right now is to play a note and have her register, you know, when she sings it, and it's the same to register that as in tune in her little ear, right, in her mind. And so for you guys, you're kind of trying to catch up with that. So the first job is to train the ear what the notes are supposed to sound like. The second job is to train the fingers what it feels like when the notes are in tune. So that you do between the two things, pretty well whip them off. See what I mean? So if you have it adjacent, you play a note, you think it's in tune, you check, I'm right, then your brain really gets the message, that's a C or that's a B, right? Or you play a note, oh, I think that's a little flat. You check, you are a little flat. You bring it up, you let your ear register that. So when you're using the tuner at this stage of the game, when you're training your ear, it's really important to, when you do get the note in tune, play it for another minute or so. Let your ear register. This is a D. This is an F. See what I mean? So I do recommend having it on, but I recommend using it like that. Don't try to please the tuner. Try to see if what you think agrees with the tuner. It's much more useful. You see what I mean?
Thank you.
No problem. Now, how did you guys do at that tempo? Not too bad or disastrous? Not too bad? Very good. Let's do it one more time. Make sure you get your low A in first. Here it is. Okay, now hopefully that'll be reliable when the notes are flying. A 1, 2, 3, G. Almost perfect game, not quite perfect. How did you guys do? Still hanging in there? You know, I've heard that in Juilliard they have scale races. So they put there's one guy that holds the stopwatch and another guy that has the tuner. And they try to go up and down a 2-octave scale as fast as possible and try to get first of all, the best time, and second of all, the best average, batting average. See that? That's what they do up in Juilliard. So have that in your mind. Is the key to this intonation practice is that when you're playing a jig or a reel, you don't have time to tune every note, right? It's just not possible. So you try to get your hand in a comfy spot so that most notes are coming down in tune on their own, most of them. And then you're up and you're batting. Then you're really making a difference. Do you see what I mean? So keep that in your mind when you're practicing these scales. If you want to get somewhere, you can play scales for 10 years and not get any better. You have to do it mindfully. Now, have we ever done this? Yeah, arpeggio inversions. We've done it? We've done it before? Oh, great. Let's do it then. Let's practice. Nice and easy, not too fast to start off with. A 1, 2, go. Even got my high B in tune, which for me is classically sharp, but this one was bang on. How are you guys feeling with that arpeggio inversion? Okay? Not bad? Let's do it again. A 1, 2, go. All right? No major difficulties? Little bit faster, just a bit. Ready to go. Not bad? Good, good, good. Now, the fun thing about this exercise is that when you do get it in tune, you can use this exercise to practice your jig rhythm. have done jig rhythm scales before? We ever done that? Scale and triplets with the jig rhythm? No, we should do it. It's very simple. So each note of the scale you're going to play a triplet on. So G, A, B. And then the next note of the scale, which is an A. A, B, C. And then the next note, which is a B. B, C, D. And all the way up the scale. Let's do it without the jig rhythm first, okay? Just regular straight. See if we can get it in tune. 1, 2, 3. How'd that go for everybody? Was it all right? Yeah?
It was okay. I must say the like the open strings kind of trip me up
Yeah.
because you're always wanting to play something, but to play it open is odd.
Do you
for me.
use your fourth finger usually?
Pardon me?
Do you usually use your fourth finger instead of the open string?
No, I've stopped doing that, Dan. Stop. I've stopped that.
But you did before? That was your experience before?
I saw the light. No, you told me. You told me. It's like, look.
Well,
Give
the
it up.
reason I mentioned
Give it
it is
up.
because some people have trouble making the transition, you know, like between using the finger and using the open string. So that could be kind of hindering you a little bit. You know what I mean? But let's do it again right away. 1, 2, go. Yeah, that was good for me. How are you guys feeling now? Better? All right, little bit faster with the jig rhythm. If you can. So it's going to be like this. 2, 3, dry. How are we feeling? Did it work okay? That's great. We don't just keep reminding you to do that every week, because if we keep touching it on it every week and increasing the tempo a bit, you guys are going to be jigging before you know it. You know what I mean? And not just a bit, like with everything, because that's the point of the exercise is to get the rhythm under your arm, and then even if it's a new jig, you'll be doing it. See what I mean? That's the whole idea there. Any questions or problems about any of that? G major exercises in practice. No, it's good? Okay. Let's see. What's a tune that we're doing that's in the key of G? Anybody remind me what we have there? We've done recently in the key of G. Gotta look at the YouTube channel and see. My channel. My kids are kind of ashamed of my YouTube channel because I have 205 subscribers, and the YouTubers that they watch on YouTube have 4 million subscribers, and their videos usually have say 14 million views, whereas my videos of Neil Gow's lament for the death of his brother have 4, but it's only because it's Maureen. She needed it. She's been practicing it. Obviously, I can see she's seen it 4 times. I keep trying to tell them that. I know the people that are watching the videos, but they still kind of shake their heads. They're like, "Are you serious?" But anyway, it's all right. Let's see here.
So the first one in my notebook from this class is The Cliffs of Moher, which is a while back.
Oh.
I have it like April 2021.
Wow, that's a blast from the past. We should do that one. It's not in G, but it's in A minor. A
Dorian, yeah.
So it's pretty well the same key. So it would be good to do. Anne, have you ever played The Cliffs of Moher?
No, I have not.
Okay, I'm going to send you the music. It's not a hard tune.
Okay.
And it's a very typical sort of beginning tune, like it's also one that absolutely everybody plays. So let me just send you the music for it quick, and then and these guys can all use the practice of it because it's been since April. And very important tune to get because I always run into it. In BC, we were playing the sessions in BC, and sure enough, the tune got played many times. Okay. What's your email address again, Anne? Because it's weird. I know it's not coming up right away.
The best one is Anne, ANNE, @runningmagazine.ca.
Right.
Thank you.
Running Magazine. Poor Jennifer she was going to do the run that happened on the weekend. She was training for it and everything, and then she tested positive for COVID on.
No.
When was that? If it was on Wednesday, I think. And
Oh no.
So she had to sub out of all of her gigs in Kitchener and at the TSO, and the people they had doing them, there's nobody to do them, so that one didn't work out very good for them. And then she had to stay home. Me and the kids tested negative the whole time.
Oh, that's so weird.
Well, I keep telling her it's the clean living. That's why I keep testing negative.
Shame.
Is that her second time?
Yes. Yeah.
She's had it before.
We all had it back in January. She barely felt it this time. She had a little bit of sniffly, and that was it. And now she tested negative yesterday, finally. So that was great. But she had to hand off her number to somebody else. So she texted a few friends. She was like, "Anybody want to take my number for the big run?" And her friend Neil, who's a French horn player, he took it. And then she got this email from Toronto Light or whatever it is, the running organization. Here's a picture of your finish line. It's Neil.
That'll happen.
Anyway, I just sent you that tune there, Ann.
I got it. Thank you.
And we'll go real slow to start off with. I don't think you'll have any problem getting it, but we'll go nice and slow to start off with, give you a chance to learn it. And you guys will get a chance to play it in tune and maybe get the odd roll in or something like that. Okay. And put it up on my screen and we'll give it a try. All right. And so, so we're going to go slow, not fast at all. I'm thinking maybe a tempo that's kind of like this here. Oh. I'll count you off. 1, 2, 3, go. Again. Okay, I just want to check in. How's everybody doing? Having any problems? Any serious problems?
Dan, I just have a question about like why the Fs are sometimes sharp and sometimes
Oh.
not. Like,
Yeah. Now, usually, like in most people play those Fs in the second part natural. Okay, just those ones though. So in the first part, it's they're F sharp.
okay. I figured it out.
In the second part, like yeah, most people play them F naturals.
Okay,
Okay.
so low, real low, in other words.
Yep, the low one.
Yeah.
Because the F, you know, most people don't realize that when you put your first finger down on the E string in the regular first position, that's an F sharp.
Yeah.
And to get an F natural, you got to go back here. Now,
Yeah.
it depends on the fiddle. I had my dad's fiddle, I got to barely touch the string past the nut and it's in tune. You know what I mean? This fiddle seems to have a spot for it. It really depends on the fiddle. F natural is a tricky one.
And Dan, what is,
Sorry.
go ahead, Ann. Go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, but technically in A Dorian, aren't the Fs supposed to be sharp?
Oh, for sure. But you see, this is Irish music. They don't care about rules. Irish people, Like they actually love to break. That's what their favorite thing is. You know what I mean? I can understand. I'm the same.
Doris.
But I will say that I have heard those F's in the second part also played sharp. But in my mind, I'm trying to go back to all the different places that I've lived and played, and most of the time it's natural. Most of the time, I grew up playing this in Cape Breton. We played it natural. Okay, good question. What was your question, Elizabeth?
What's the ornament that you're doing on the F natural in that second part? Or are you just vibrating? Just the vibrato?
It's not vibrato. No, it's something called a single cut. And I might not have told you guys about this yet. Well, I'm sure I have, but it's good to touch on again. But a single cut is a bagpipe move. So when the bagpiper puts his finger, and I'm talking about Irish pipers too, when they put their finger on the hole, right, to play a note, sometimes they let the finger hop a little tiny bit like that. And what it does is it interrupts the note with this beautiful little chirp where the air puffs out of the hole just before they close it off again. See what I mean?
Okay.
We can do that on the fiddle because, you know, as a fiddle player, you're constantly trying to emulate a piper. It's just your lot in life. They also try to emulate us, so it's okay. But look what I do. See if you can see it here. So I'm bringing my finger down to play the note, and just as I play the note, I let it bounce and come back down again. It interrupts the note once, single cut. See that? And it's very handy ornament to do because you can do it on an eighth note if you want. You don't need much time to do it, like say a roll or a cut, a regular cut. It takes a whole quarter. But this single cut you can just do. But it is a bit of a trick. You have to practice it. When I was practicing it, I was playing Irish here at the session, and my main concern was to pick my finger up off of the string, and before it even has a chance to get released, snap her back down again. See that? That's how you get a nice one. See that? Very, very fun to do. Once you get the hang of it, you'll be doing it all over the place. Okay?
I just like to apologize to all my classmates for that.
Oh, that's good. No, I want to learn stuff. But Dan, could you play the phrase the way you put that single
Sure.
tone in there so I know where it's happening?
You hear that little warble there? Is it, you know, you're trying to make bird chirps, right? That's all we're ever doing. Even there I did. See that? Oh, I didn't do it there. See how that works there? Great little ornament, but you got to practice it on its own, really. It's not an easy one to just put in the music. You know, one good way to do that when you're trying to get an ornament in your music, aim for one. So pick one of those Fs and say you're going to do a single cut on it and try to do it every time. The chances are is that when you do start to get the one, because now you're not pressurizing yourself. You just have the one you're trying to do. And once you do get it, it'll really, more will follow. It's just one of those type of things. So just aim for one. Try to get one of them in there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opportunities in that second part to do it. So just pick one, okay? Good question, really good questions. Any other questions? How about you, Pearl? You got any questions? She said earlier, you said earlier in the chat you're going to play My Cape Breton Home for your school assignment?
Yeah, we have to do ensembles, and the version I have has 3 parts. So I'm gonna have to transpose it for a bunch of people, or I can make them. I have some options.
You mean like 3-part harmony?
Yeah, so I have it's written out for 3 violins.
Yeah.
I can transpose it for a viola, I think.
Yep. Now that should be, I know a lot of viola players, they all read treble clef as well.
Yeah, we only have one viola player, and I know she reads treble clef, but I also know she hates reading treble clef, and I really need her to stay in school because she's the only one we've got.
Well, then, best of luck. Okay, good. Let's do it again. Let's do this let's say maybe 3 times, and I'm going to ramp up the speed a little bit. Now, Anne, you're reading it okay? You're not having any problems? If I up the tempo a bit, you'll be all right?
That'll be okay, thanks.
Okay, great. Let's do it. 3 times. We'll start off same speed. 1, 2, 3, go. 2, 3. Cliffs of Moher. And I've been there. I've been to the Cliffs of Moher. West coast of Ireland. They're gigantic cliffs. They're a tourist attraction. And whenever I've gone, it's been so foggy, you can't even see that you're on a cliff. Like, it's just unbelievably foggy. And my brother Paul has the funniest story about the Cliffs of Moher when him and Jerry Holland went on tour in Ireland, 1991. And they rented a camper van to do it. It's a good way to do it in Ireland because most of the music happens in the country. So it's good to have kind of just a place to crash. So anyway, so they played this session in Dingle, which is a little town, seaside town, a tourist place, a Gaelic speaking place. And then they were going to go up to the Cliffs of Moher. It was the middle of the night and fog was as thick as anything. And they go up to the Cliffs of Moher and Jerry is sleeping in the camper van and Paul can't stand it because Jerry's snoring like you wouldn't believe. So he gets out and he takes his sleeping bag out and he sleeps right next to the camper van. And he was rolling around a little bit. And when he woke up in the morning, it was so foggy when they parked, they didn't notice. But when they woke up in the morning, he was right next to the side of the cliff. Like, if he had rolled once more, he would have went over the cliff. So if you ever sleep, the Cliffs of Moher, sleep in the damn camper van. Anyway, how'd we do with that? How'd we do with the tempo and everything? Was it okay? Yeah, even for you, Ann, when it was brand new?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's beautiful. I'm so happy because I've heard of it before, but I didn't know how it went.
Oh, okay. Now, for you to accelerate the process with this tune, kind of get it in your head sooner,
Yeah.
I suggest, again, like put my YouTube video of it on, the slow one, and have the music adjacent, okay? Yeah. See how much you can get without glancing. Glance if you have to get you keep going. But otherwise, that's a really good way to accelerate the process.
Yeah, will do.
Okay, very good. Now let's see, what were we working on last time? We had a couple, right? There was the Spay and Spate that we did. That was a few weeks ago. What's that? Oh, Jacob Slurs. Perfect. Okay. We did it at the local on Saturday with the Highland Pipes. It was so much fun. And then we played Troy's Wedding. Jacob Slurs. I'm going to get up on my screen.
The Jacob Slurs is like one of my mom's favorites.
It's a beautiful tune. It's so awesome, that tune. It's got a lot going on. Jig of Slurs. And if you ever get a chance to see a pipe band playing it, I highly recommend it because, well, the band that I saw when I was down in the States, they did such a beautiful harmony to this tune, like with all the pipes. It was just kicking, just so great. Okay, Jig of Slurs, not too fast. About that tempo, all right? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, go! checking in before we speed up. How are we doing? Anybody having any difficulties or problems or anything about their childhood they need to go over before they can increase the tempo of this tune, you know, something like that? No?
Dan, I'm having one little issue with the last bar in the second line. I'm not playing the right notes. Does it go F sharp, D, C sharp, D, or is it something else you're playing there? I'm just getting it wrong each time.
F sharp. So you're talking about the last two bars of the second line?
Yeah, just the last bar I'm getting wrong.
Oh, okay. F, E, C, D.
F, E, okay, F, E, C, D. Okay, I'm playing F, D, C, D. Got it, thank you.
You know, I've heard people play that too. That's, you know, don't worry too much about it. This is a tune where you're going to find different versions all over the place wherever you go. Okay. So, yeah, I've heard the D as well. Either one is good. Good question. Okay, let's speed her up a little bit. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go. How did we do there, ladies, with the fast? Did it go okay? Well, that's just great. Jacob Slurs, very, very great tune. All right, then what should we move on to? Maybe we'll switch gears, we'll do a reel. Let's see about reels that we've done. Take a look at the YouTube channel again here. Let's see here. Ooh, Patty on the Turnpike. That's a great tune. Oh, this is the wrong YouTube channel. Oh, no. Here we go. Okay. Now, the Spade and Spade. Why don't we go over that one? That's a tough one. That's it. It's got some string changes. It's got some. My friend Ross in my band, he's always wanting to do that tune now these days. And he says it's for the challenge on the uilleann pipes. Although it's in the key of D, kind of perfect for the uilleann pipes, it's got some challenges when it comes to that. So let's have a crack at it. All right, so we're switching gears a tiny bit with the key too. We're now in D, the key of D, instead of the key of G. So you guys change the shape of your hand slightly, but not too much. And I think we'll be able to handle it. Make it a little smaller so I can still see everybody. Okay, let's do it. And it uses the whole fiddle, that's the other thing. Yeah, did you notice that? Like, well, yeah, the Cliffs of Moher only uses the high side of the fiddle. And the Jig of Slurs pretty well only uses the high side of the fiddle. There's no notes on the G and just a few D string notes here and there. So this one uses the whole thing. Okay, now let's go through this one slow a couple of times. And then I'm going to go down and make sure my little girl is off the YouTube. And then we'll try speeding it up a little tiny bit, okay? So first of all, slow a couple of times. A 1, 2, 3. going great. Now, the only thing, of course, we talked about this last time. The challenging thing with this tune is, the string changing, getting from one side of the fiddle to the other quickly and easily. And I think we talked about the doorway. This is a great tune to do in the doorway, So while I go make sure Sylvia's off YouTube, I want you guys to try to see if you can keep that in mind. So maybe play a couple of bars of it, just looking at your right elbow, making sure that it doesn't move around and wander around. And then we're going to try to see if that helps when we increase the speed. Okay? Be right back. Practice.
Like we're gonna do that. Pearl, I hope you're feeling better soon.
Thank you. Everyone at school has been getting sick recently, so
No. Oh, I'm
I'm just-
sorry. Anyway, good for you, and good for you for transposing that viola part.
I've done the viola part. I still have to do the cello and the bass part.
Good for you. Are you doing it by hand or do you use like software?
I'm using what's it? It's called MuseScore.
MuseScore? Okay. I've used NoteFlight. I've used NoteFlight before.
I don't know about NoteFlight. I use MuseScore just because it's usually free.
Yeah, well, NoteFlight's free. The one I
Oh,
use is
really?
free.
Okay, I'm just gonna write that down.
Yeah, no, I've gotten used to NoteFlight, and I can do what I want with it. But that's great. That's great exercise for you. So, what grade are you in now?
I'm in grade 12 actually. So
Wow. And do you think you're going to study music after?
I'm not
school?
entirely sure, but I'm
Not sure.
getting auditions set up.
Oh, nice. Yeah. No, it's not a must do. It never the music education never leaves you, even if you do something else. My daughter doesn't. She did a lot of piano, but she ended up making off with my digital keyboard, and she plays piano for like stress relief now. But she's at Queen's, like Anne's daughter. He's
That's-
also at Queen's.
Are you at Queen's, Pearl?
No, but my mom went to Queens and she keeps trying to get me to go.
Are you not inclined to go?
Oh no, it's just both my parents are engineers, and so my mom wants me to go to Queens for engineering, but my dad wants me to go to McMaster for engineering because that's the of it.
Oh boy.
I
Yeah.
decided to go to music, so I've kind of. To be fair, my mom did engineering and then arts, so maybe she doesn't.
Oh, nice. That's
Oh,
the thing.
wow.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Well,
So
I got
Dan,
people in my
Susan and Anne attempted to practice, but I immediately started chatting with Pearl, and they were totally sucked in. So I apologize. I'm the bad influence.
It's
I was
quite all right
slapping
that
biofreeze on my shoulder.
People often forget that you can't have fiddle music without trying to have a bunch of chats and a bunch of laughs as well. Like the two go hand in hand. No fiddle music ever started before a story. Always after a story, Very important part of the process.
very accurate. That's just my fiddle club at school now, is just talking and then playing half a tune and then saying, "Oh yeah, we should probably finish it, shouldn't we?"
I do suggest you finish the tune. I do suggest you play the whole tune for sure. But the chatting is definitely a huge part of it. Me and the boys, the North Atlantic Drift guys, we keep fantasizing about doing a show that is, the music, but also just comedy between the three of us. Because when we get together, it's so funny. Like we pile up on Brian all the time and bash Brian for being Irish and having bad teeth and stuff. And he's totally up for it. And it is so much fun. And one of these days we're going to do it. You know what I mean? But we did attempt to make a funny video, and it was called Slagging. And it was set in my old car, my Kia, that I had since 2010. And it was had 300,000 kilometers on it. It looked like a rolled Pinto. It was all dented up from different encounters and experiences and scratched up, and the interior was just a mess. And so the idea of the video was that me and Ross are sitting in the front, and Brian gets in the back of the car, immediately lights up a smoke, and starts slagging the car and me and the gig that we're going to, which is what he usually does. And we were all set. It was going to be really funny. We got the thing set up with the lights, and we got a camera guy to come and help. And Brian shows up, and he told us that he had just gotten served papers that day because he rear-ended a guy about 3 years ago, and the guy was trying to sue him. So he was not in the mood to joke around, unfortunately. We still did it, but I don't know if it was that funny.
Can
Anyway,
we see it on YouTube, Dan? Can we see it and judge for ourselves?
not yet, because I haven't finished it yet. I still have editing to do because some other stuff went wrong. I'm not a video maker. I mean, I am, but I'm trying. But it will be on YouTube. Slaggin' is going to be the name of the video. But it's going to be Slaggin' spelled Sligging because Brian is from Sligo.
Right.
So Slaggin's the Sligo style.
I should clarify in Fiddle Club, the reason we talk in between parts A and B is because we're trying to do it by ear. So we learn part A, then we get talking, and it's like, oh yeah, we got to learn part B.
And Pearl, are you teaching these kids these tunes by ear?
Yeah, I'm trying to. There's some people that really need the music because they've been playing violin for like, I don't know, 2 weeks, and they just need to see it to remember it.
I know the feeling of people that need the music. Yes, I understand. Yes. Now, but I do suggest if you're teaching these tunes by ear, try to break them up into phrases, eh? A phrase at a time is much better than a whole A part at a time.
Yeah, that's what we do. We usually do it phrase by phrase, and then we try to get through the A part twice.
Good.
Do it once so you have a chance to figure it out, and then do it the second time so you can actually get the notes you missed the first time.
Oh, that's exactly the good approach there, Pearl. Very, very good.
Right.
Good luck to you. Okay, let's do it a few times. We're going to get faster every time until we're at ludicrous speed. 1, 2, 3. see many elbows flying around, which is extremely good. And the tempo was, to give you a reference, so yeah, 82. 82. And not a lot of the funky chicken there, which is extremely good because it's when the tempo goes up that this starts to really get in gear, like in a bad way. Really starts to take over because the tension that I've noticed that between the 80 and 100 mark is where people encounter these tension problems. So like 80, 85, the tension comes into the right arm, and this turns into this, and this turns into this. So for some reason, I don't know why. So much better there at the 82, looking really good. Keep that in your mind as you bump up the tempo. If you can keep this, kind of copacetic and not flying around, and if you can keep this part, especially this, and we worked a bit on that last time, the hand bowing. Remember that? Or maybe we didn't. Maybe that was the beginner class. Did we do that last time? Oh, okay. I'm going to talk about it briefly now, but we're going to work on it next time. Okay? Hand bowing. Because if you notice I'll show you. I'm going to play this tune up to speed, and I want you to look really close to me at my right arm and my right elbow. Okay, now did you notice there that 90% of that was done by this and not by this? Okay, that's the main takeaway. Did you guys notice anything else when I was doing that?
Like, is that bionic?
No, it is not bionic. I don't have any bionic parts yet. Give me time. Anybody else have anything they want to comment on about that? Okay, so here's how you do it, because I work with people a lot on this. And the thing is about the hand bowing is that for most adults, I was talking about that gulf between 80 and 100, that people have so much trouble. They're okay at 80 or even at 85, but then to get to the 100 mark is really, really hard. And it's because when you're playing at 100, your left hand is fine because it's the small muscles in your fingers that can move very fast. Like if you guys all held your left hand up and went like this with your fingers, you could move them very, very fast. You see that? Even beginners. So it's just flying, no problem. Now, try to move your arm that fast. Never, ever going to keep up, right? Ever. And that's why there's that dividing line between, say, 85 and 100. Because if you can't use your hand to bow, then the big muscles of your arm are never going to be up for the task. One thing that people end up doing as a result is they slur everything together because of that. See that? Winding up with this kind of sloppy, kind of directionless kind of sound and stuff. So the key to playing at 100 beats a minute is being able to bow with just your hand. And I call this my primary bow arm. And this one is my secondary bow arm. See that? So it's like 90% of the time I'm doing this, and sometimes getting the arm in. See, for the big dotted quarter notes or half note. So to work on your hand bowing, there's two things you got to do. First of all, do you remember hand or bow push-ups? See that? Bow push-ups are basically exactly the same motion as bowing with your hand. So once you can do a few bow push-ups, now the thing is that you got to make sure you're doing them right. This is not right. Okay? This is right. See what I mean? This is not right. This is. Okay? Now, once you can do that, once you're, yes, Susan.
You turn your hand towards the camera.
Like this.
Yes. Okay.
So you see how my fingers are kind of clutching up there, like closing a fist. Same with my thumb. The thumb also curls up into the palm like that. You do a lot of bow push-ups there, Pearl?
Yeah, because you can do as many as you want in symphony when you're not playing.
Absolutely, you can, and it's a great thing to do. So once you get the few bow push-ups happening and you can do it, right? Then you transfer it to the lateral. See that? So that's the down part of the bow push-up. This is the up part of the bow push-up. Down, up. Same exact motion with my fingers. So I don't know if you can see. Yep. Up bow, down bow. Up bow, down bow. That's good there, Elizabeth. Very good. Make sure your thumb is curling in too, but that's how you do it. So that's kind of my 90% of my playing. See that? Just that. Now, once you get the hang of those two things, the bow push-ups and the lateral bow push-ups, then you do something that they did in Suzuki very cleverly called hand, 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 arm, arm. And you can do it on a single string or on a double stop. I always recommend a double stop because it's a bit more of a workout. But check this out. Now, the problem with this exercise is that you can do it all day long wrong. You can think that you're doing it right by going. Won't do you any good at all. You have to get this hand motion. Now, for most people, when they first start doing bow, hand, 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 arm, arm, it sounds like this. And that's okay. The only reason that you're crunching like that is because you're not used to the finesse of keeping the weight on that you have on the bow steady when you're just using your fingers. That will come along. The important thing is to actually do it. So even if your sound suffers, do it anyway. Okay? We'll clean up the sound, but it's very important to get this motion that most people do not have. Let's try a little bit of it. I'm going to try my best to give you a good example. Okay, ready, go. Okay, how is it feeling? How do people feel about this? Is it working? Kinda? Let me hear somebody doing it. Who wants to do it for me so I can kind of make an example of you?
Okay, I will volunteer.
Let's hear Elizabeth. Okay, now you did 3 there. The second one was correct. The first one was more your arm. The second one was your hand. And the third one was your arm again.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I should also tell you that some people really like to do this exercise, not just in the doorway, but with the doorway against their wrist instead of against their elbow to actually force the issue. Now, and I have had that in my studio here teaching. I've had people where I had to do that. So what I usually do is I'd sit there with my bow like this. And so I'd put the bow up against, like right here, while they're doing the hand, and then I'd get it out of the way and let them do the arm. And then up it goes again. See that? And it works really well. Usually I didn't have to actually touch the person. I would just kind of start to get close and their hand would just melt works really, really well.
Is the flat part of the bow rolling when you're doing that?
It does, yes. Very
Okay.
good point. It pitches. That's what they call that with the bow. And every bow pitches, okay, like a ship. That's where the term comes from, I think. Every bow pitches. Your job is to keep it to a minimum. That's it. But it's impossible to do it without the bow pitching a little bit. All right. And to keep it to a minimum, you lighten up on your grip when you're doing it. And that's very key. The bow, they used to say in the Royal Conservatory, the bow hold should be dynamic, meaning that the bow is loose in my fingers. See that? Yeah. It kind of sits on top of my fingertips. It doesn't, I don't grip it, I don't grip it side to side at all. The bow should be loose in your fingers like a trailer hitch. Now I can chuck her back and forth. Have no problem at all. But as soon as I tighten up, she starts to go all over the place. See that? So a nice loose grip, let the bow pitch, just try to keep it to a minimum. Let's do it again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. There, it popped up in my head the J. Scott Skinner book, and in the middle of the book is the tune called Tullochorm. And I don't know if you've ever heard of that tune, but it's one of the biggest Cape Breton tunes. Every Cape Breton fiddler has recorded it, including me. And it's this big showcase. It's the middle of the book. The actual tune itself is simple, but then he has all these crazy variations. So the tune itself goes. Etc. Great tune, wicked tune. It's like 200 years old or something like that. But then the variations that J. Scott Skinner put on it is nuts. They say he doubled it, he tripled it, he quadrupled it. So we got. See that? And I worked hard on those. And what I love is the caption he put over those parts. It says feather bowing. I love that. Beautiful term for that type of thing, because you're tickling it. You're tickling the strings. See that? You're jiggling your hand slightly and you're getting it so that you're kind of like dribbling a basketball. You're getting it so that it's doing this motion on its own against the strings. And all you're doing is kind of just like dribbling a basketball. You're just kind of trying to keep it steady the whole way through, and it's doing its own thing. Feather bowing. See that? And when you're doing that type of bowing, all you got to worry about is how long Tarzan's rope is. If Tarzan's rope is too long, he swings from tree to tree and his legs dig in, right? And that's most people's problem. Right? The other problem is Tarzan's rope is too short. And so you're kind of skipping half the notes, very wispy, very kind of like this. Very weak. See that? So you need to get Tarzan's rope just the right length so you can just kind of flop her all day and every note is good as a result. You see what I mean? Feather bowing. Let's try one more, the hand, arm thing with that in mind. Nice and gentle. And then next week we're also going to do the jiggle. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, go. everybody's looking better just with that little talk about the feather bowing. Everybody's looking better already. Now, just before we go, I'm going to tell you quickly about the jiggle. So the jiggle is what they call tremolo with your bow. And it's exactly this hand bowing thing that I'm talking about here. And it kind of looks like this. See that? See that? And it's kind of, now you don't run into it in Scottish and Irish very much, but you do in the other types of fiddling, like the Texas style fiddling or the old time fiddling. They do that all the time. Or the country fiddle players that play along with singers, they do that type of thing all the time. And when I was teaching up in Wikwemicong, on Manitoulin Island, the native kids up there, they were talking about, well, not the kids, the kids' parents and teachers were talking about a fiddle player called Coleman Trudeau, who lived up there in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Well, he lived in the States, but he played primarily in Wiki, and he was a beautiful player. I didn't know anything about him until I watched the documentary about all the fiddle players up in that end of the world. And I noticed that when we were working on the jiggle, because it's part of the Strings Across the Sky curriculum, the kids took to it right away, and they were just loving it. And we were doing that. We were doing Amazing Grace, but with the jiggle bowing. And then I watched this documentary, and Coleman Trudeau plays this tune called A Sober Night in Wiki, about when he had to stop drinking, and they helped him there in the community. And it's a beautiful waltz, absolutely beautiful. The first time he plays it straight, the second time he played it all jiggled, the entire tune. And it was gorgeous, and it made sense why the kids took to it so well, because it's an aesthetic, it's a sound, right, that they really enjoy. So, and that's the jiggle. It's really useful for people that cannot bow with their hand, like they just can't do it. Like it always looks like this. It never looks like this, even when they think it does. This jiggle seems to really help those people. So you just basically, it's willy-nilly. You're just trying to jiggle as much as you can. So you can do it on a scale. That's just as much as you can, any amount, it doesn't matter. Just get that bow jiggling. And then once you actually get the hang of it and it's starting to be a little bit controllable, you try to do the same number of jiggles per note. So like this. See that? Now you're starting to build your eighth note capability of doing eighth notes really fast. And then you do a tune. So we were doing Amazing Grace. See that? Etc. Okay, doesn't matter the tune. It could be any tune you want, but just to be able to move the bow like that in conjunction with the melody. So if you want to try the jiggle this week, I would highly recommend it. Next week, we'll get into it. We'll dig into it there, and it'll help everybody, including Pearl, with all that classical that she's doing. Like, this is very important for that as well. We'll dig into it. We'll try to get it clean, try to get it feeling good. And it'll help, hopefully it'll help us get over this 80 to 100 gulf that is so hard to get over. Okay? I think I've tortured you guys enough tonight. You can go off and do whatever you want now. And we'll see you next Monday. And oh yeah, there's going to be a new tune next Monday too. It's a tune called Farewell to Erin. You ever heard of that tune? Let me play it for you. One time. very popular tune since 1977. I think we should get it. And it's an awesome one, and it uses the whole fiddle, and it has a lot of these skills that we've been talking about tonight. All right, thank you, Pearl. Okay, that's the plan.
Will you be sending that to us, Dan?
Oh,
Is
I
that-
will, and I'm going to make a video too. So I'll send you YouTube links and music, and we'll start working on it next week. And we'll learn it by ear, though. So make yourself familiar with it and all that kind of stuff, but then we're going to learn it phrase by phrase for reals.
Awesome.
Okay?
Nice. Sounds good. Thank you.
Guys, see you
Thanks,
next
Dan.
week.
Good night,
Good night.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.